Well, good morning and welcome to Friday morning, April the 10th today. Our devotion for today is entitled Suffering is Within God's Control. Some would say, well, then why doesn't he control it? We'll find out what Mr. Keller has to say about that. He quotes Ephesians 1:11, "In him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will." God is called the one, quote, who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will, which we just read. Everything that happens fits in accord with, in harmony with God's plan. This means that God's plan includes little things. Proverbs 16:33 in the King James says, "The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord." Even the flip of the coin is part of his plan. Ultimately, there are no accidents. His plan also includes bad things. Psalm 60, verse 3 in the English Standard Version reads, "You have made your people see hard things. You have given us wine to drink that made us stagger." Suffering then is not outside God's plan, but it is a part of it. In Acts 4:27 and 28 in the English Standard Version, the Christian disciples pray to God, quote, "In this city there were gathered together against your holy servant, Jesus, Herod, and Pontius Pilate, along with the Gentiles and the peoples of Israel. You do whatever your hand and your plan has predestined to take place." Jesus' suffering and death was a great act of injustice, but it was also part of the set plan of God. Reminds me of us passage being told that God's ways are not our ways. His ways are above our ways. He sees the whole plan, the whole field of battle, if it were, um, and therefore he knows what to do and when to do it, what's going to work out for the accomplishment of his kingdom plan here on earth. And so that's why we're called on to suffer. His own son was called on to suffer for us, for our behalf. And so he allows the enemy to press us hard, just like he did with Job. Uh, could anything more hideous happen to us than what happened to Job? Losing everything, literally everything. His possessions, his flocks, his family, all of that. Satan kept pressing God. Well, he only worships you because you let him have all this stuff. And God lets him whittle it away. Because he wants to prove to Satan that Job is a man who can't be shaken, who can't be turned away from those things he says early in Job. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. That's not an easy thing to say after you've lost all that Job lost. And his response to that, he has a wife who does not support him. She can't believe he's still not turning away from God. And she just tells him, curse God and die. Get it over with. Stop the suffering. And that's when Job lets her know he's not doing that. It's an interesting picture to think of. Suffering is within God's control. And knowing that, the scriptures that were quoted here, we need when hard times, when suffering comes our way, we need to ask the Lord to reveal to us what exactly is in your purpose for me. What is it you're wanting to accomplish through sending this suffering my way? Lots of times, most people in that situation blame God. They get mad at God. They want to wash their hands of God. But the reality is, God is up to something in our lives in those moments. And again, it's something we need to dig to find. We need to realize, well, because when we look at it, remember, God's ways are better than our ways, are higher than our ways. They're not ours. And so we need to, in those times, we need to look to the Lord and tell him we trust him. We don't know what it's all about, but we know he's got our best interests at heart. All things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And that's what he's always doing in our lives. There's always a purpose in what he's doing, even in times of suffering. It's about working for our good to bring us into a deeper faith and relationship with him, to learn to trust him fully, trust him with our lives, trust him with all that we have, and allow him to paint the picture. Allow him to bring about in our lives that which will ultimately be best for us and cause us to deepen our faith in him. Just write it out, just as the disciples did on the stormy Sea of Galilee one night. They doubted Christ at that time. Lord, don't you care? We're about to be killed here with this storm. Jesus stands up, calms the storm, and guess what? We have at that point the first recorded moment of worship that the disciples give to the Lord because they've just witnessed his power and his ability to save them and to have more power than the storm, which they thought was pretty awesome. Again, we don't we can't second guess God. We can't point an accusing finger at him and question what he's up to. We just need to trust him. We just need to trust him, just as we have to do with our parents when we're little. We don't know what mom and dad are thinking. We don't know what it is they want to do. All we know is we're spoiled little brats who want to get our own way, and that's how some believers act toward the Lord that way, as spoiled brats. We think we deserve to get from him what we want. And that's not how it rolls. That is not how it rolls. What we need to do is surrender ourselves to the Lord and trust him, which we ask our kids to do at times. And if they see that the result of our decisions is good for them, and then at that point we begin to trust. We begin to realize that our parents really do love us and they want what's best for us. And again, they're adults. They've lived enough of life to know how things work. And that's the same with God. He knows how things work. He knows the kingdom he's wanting to build using us and our lives in all of these things. So that's the devotion for today, for this Friday. Suffering is within God's control. And just that title, I hope, sticks with us because need, we must trust the things that God is doing in our lives at all times, and not turn our backs on him, just as Job's friends were giving him counsel to do, and to stick with him. to keep trusting Him. Stay in